Hello, friends! It's been a while, and I wanted to thank everyone who checked out my first video and apologize for how long it's been. We had a minor, little bitty hurricane that knocked out power for a while, and it took us a little while to get back going, but I'm back, excited to be here. Willow's butt is excited to be here, and it's good that she's right here with me because today is, well, this. Books for all of my cats is Madison Reads. First up is Willow, whose entire ass you got to see at the beginning. I wanted to recommend something for her that would encourage her, aggressive militant feminism. And so I actually have two for her. I'm recommending Sadie Doyle's Dead Blondes and Bad Mothers, Monstrosity, Patriarchy, and the Fear of Female Power. It's a fantastic book. Doyle takes us on like a tour of famous historical monstrous women, both real and unreal. If you enjoyed her previous book, Trainwreck, I think that you'll get a real kick out of this one. And I wanted Willow to kind of learn to be as rabid a misandrist as I am. So I thought that this was a great way to start. I also wanted to recommend Baby Teeth by Zoj Stage. It came out a little while back. If you ever read or watched Bad Seed, it's sort of in that same vein. There's a mother alone with her child, and the child may or may not be evil. It's absolutely gripping and terrifying, and a large portion of the plot revolves around no one believing the mom. She's saying, hey, my kid might be evil. The book is told both from the perspective of the mother and her daughter, and I think Willow will really identify with the evil daughter. So I have two little first sons that came to us on a weird journey. We were visiting my in-laws, and they live out in the country, and so they have like just wild feral cats kind of about. And these two little ones climbed under the undercarriage of my husband's car, unbeknownst to us. They rode back with us for about an hour on the highway. Again, us not knowing. So when we found them, they were a little shell-shocked, but now they've turned into two extremely cuddly boys. And I wanted to give them, books that I really enjoyed reading when I was younger. I wanted to recommend to Wedge, who is kind of wanting to get into fantasy novels, a book about wizards. It's a book about young teen wizards learning the ropes of wizarding. And I think a lot of people are really familiar with this series. It's pretty popular, pretty well known, and the author is extremely well known. That's So You Want to Be a Wizard by Diane Duane. I grew up with this series. It contains some of my best memories. This is actually my copy from childhood, which is in incredibly good condition. I think it might be my second or third copy, actually. I went through a lot of books when I was a kid. I would just read them until the covers fell off. It contained Tom and Carl, who were amazing queer role models to me as a kid. The author, Duane, didn't openly come forward and say that these two very obviously a couple wizards were, in fact, a couple until much later, but it was at the request of the two men that they are based upon after one of them passed away. And so I thought that that was a book that I really grasped onto as a kid, and I think Wedge will enjoy it too, since he has two queer parents. Biggs is my little spooky guy, and he needed something more recent, more gripping, and more action-packed. He's a very timid guy, but he loves horror. He gets into that kind of horror stuff. So for him, I have the alternate history book, Dread Nation. It's an alternate history book about the Civil War, where there is a black battalion of zombie fighters. So, good, clean, fun. You have a black female protagonist, which is very uncommon in genre fic, which makes me really happy to see. And I could not put this one down. It just I picked it up and I blew through it in an evening. A lot of times when I pick up a YA book, I kind of get sucked in, and this was no exception. Just a brief interlude. This episode of Madison Reads is brought to you by Black Box Wine. It's cheap and it gets you there. It's adequate. For Miss Molly, who you may have seen in my previous video, she's the large gray cat. I wanted to get her something that was nonfiction. She's a big nonfiction reader. She also loves true crime, and I wanted to combine something that told her a little bit about my life working in libraries, but also would give her that nice little true crime feeling that she would like. So I recommended The Library Book by Susan Orlean. A lot of readers may be familiar with Orlean's book, The Orchid Thief, which was really popular. I saw it a lot on BookTube back in 2019. This book talks about the Los Angeles Public Library fire of 1986 and the sort of lengths that police at the time went through to sort of find out who this was. She goes down a list of suspects. At the same time, she also delves into the history of public libraries in America. So it's just an all-around fascinating read for anyone who loves books, reading, true crime, public libraries, arson, the works. Rufus. Rufus, Rufus, Rufus. Willow, what do you think of Rufus? Rufus is my eldest, and he is kind of a fuckboy. I love him. He's my son, my giant, hairy, 16-pound son, but he is kind of an a-hole. And I wanted to recommend him a book that he would actually get a lot out of. Then I realized he's not going to read whatever I give him. But he cares a lot about image, and he wants to seem intelligent, thoughtful, well-spoken, you know, all those things that a young pseudo-intellectual looks for in a book. So I thought, I know what I'll do. And I recommended him Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. I know he hasn't read it because no one has read it, but it's on his bookshelf and he keeps asking others now, have you read Infinite Jest? So, perfect, I guess. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one. It was a little shorter than last time. I'm still working my way through Axiom's End. And also my friend Elaine and I have been producing a new podcast. You can check that out in the description. If you're a fan of ABC's Once Upon a Time, we did a rantcast about the TV show. It was a lot of fun. It's called Storybroke, Miserably Ever After. Thank you. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Madison Reads.